Hi, welcome to class. I'm Jennifer of Unset Ways Yoga and Mindful Movement, and this is the fall series, which will focus on the traditional Chinese medicine perspective of autumn and the metal element. So, this element and season marks the time shifting from the active yang summer into the more yin winter seasons. And we can access any excesses built in heat or in emotion and what we need to let go of. So, emotions of grief and sadness can be processed regarding loss or great change in life. And these emotions are associated with the lung and large intestine meridian, excuse me. So the meridians are energetic pathways throughout the body, highlighted in traditional Chinese medicine. We'll focus on various aspects of these meridians. We will allow healthy practices to release tensions and create space for new inspiration and growth. Today's class is called Opening Passages, and we will be practicing specific breath work and finding stillness to aid ourselves in opening up so that we can let go of those things that we do not need. So let's start seated in Virasana, up on a block or a cushion so that you can have nice supported feel below you. And we're going to start with a couple of acupressure points. So these are nice gentle points to help us open up the lungs and access easier breathing. So the first one is called lung 2. So we'll place our right hand on our hip, or you could do either arm actually. So place one arm on the hip. With the other hand, walk yourself out on the clavicle. And just before you get to that bony prominence that sticks up, you'll find a dip just below the clavicle. And we'll place our middle finger there. Now for lung 1, we'll walk the first finger down just about an inch below that where we have our middle finger, that little dip. And this will be another dip that's just between the first and second ribs. So now that you have your fingers there, you could find which fingers or thumb combination create a nice hold bowl balance for you there. And those two spots will help to open up and ease our breathing. So you can just relax your other arm now. Find your presence. Let's have a nice soft gaze with the eyes, or if you feel called to do so, you're welcome to close your eyes. And let's settle into some pranayama breathing. So pranayama breathing is in essence just easeful breathing. It's just connecting our life's force, bringing our body and mind together into focus. And while we're doing this, we can set an intention for class, or maybe come up with a short mantra that speaks to you today and helps you feel supported in your practice. So when we have long holds in yin yoga and moments of stillness, a lot of times the mind can sense the discomfort and resist against that by being fidgety or trying to think of a lot of thoughts that you wanted to step away from for a moment. So anytime you find that fidgety mind, go ahead and think of that mantra or intention that you've brought in with you today. So again, let's just find a restful, easeful position. If you're using these acupressure points, just allow yourself to breathe into them, expanding the lungs. And let's settle in today. As we slow down, maybe think about extending the length of each inhale and exhale. A few more rounds of breath here. And slowly release your hands and arms. Maybe give some nice rolling of the shoulders. We're going to stay in a seated position, so if this is comfortable to you, you're welcome to stay here. Or if you'd like to switch your legs over into Sukhasana, an easy seat, you're welcome to do as well. Whatever feels best for you. And so from here, let's take our right ear towards our right shoulder. And then we'll take our left hand reaching outwards towards the floor, or if you want to bring in another block to assist you in being able to outstretch your arm. Just enjoy a nice long stretch of the neck and the line, even all the way down the arm. And a few gentle breaths here. And let's slowly roll our head towards the center and over to the left side, extending that right arm out, fingertips towards the floor or a block. And one more time, let's roll back towards the right side. And this time, maybe play with different positioning of the head if you want to look a little bit more upwards towards the ceiling or continue to look forward, or even looking downward towards your shoulder. Find if that helps change and add to the benefit of the stretch here. And then roll slowly over to the left ear, to the left shoulder, and again, play with any angles that might feel best to you today. Out stretching that right hand with the fingertips. And roll your neck forward and back up to center. Again, if you want to do any shoulder circles or loosening up, that's perfect. And now, if you'd like to line up another block behind you, I may need to adjust where I'm sitting here so I have some space. So we're going to do a bit of a seated twist with the aid of a block behind us. So let's inhale, breathing up, reaching upwards together, just a gentle twist, turning towards the right, reaching out for your block, really focusing on opening that chest and allowing the twist to bring out the breath there. And let's inhale on the next breath upwards. And let's adjust the block behind you if you need. Next breath cycle, inhale up, reaching upwards, and twist slowly to the left. Just a gentle twist today, sitting up tall, opening up that chest. Really helping our lungs open up into our breath today. On the next inhale, let's inhale up towards the center and exhale, relaxing down. So as we do our breathing exercises today, we'll have them some intermittently through our postures. We will be providing physically respiratory relief, relief from congestion, and of course, helping us have more easeful breathing. The more that we can open up and feel less contracted and less constricted by tension. Emotionally, the lungs again are associated with the feelings of grief and sadness. So any tension that we do have in the chest can be caused by the physical manifestation of these feelings if they go on for too long. So in our practices in this whole series, we'll be helping ourselves to open up and breathe and move again so that hopefully we can process these emotions. And of course, it's not therapy. You may need other aspects to help you through whatever you're dealing with emotionally, but this can be a nice movement experience, a nice breathing experience to add to that. So I hope it does help you today. So from here, let's take out um, our blocks. We're going to just move into a nice child's pose, ease ourselves in, again, feeling totally supported by the earth. If you'd like to keep your block and have that under your hips, if hips don't naturally go all the way to the ground, you're welcome to do that. And then just find your ease, finding yourself supported by the earth in a nice restorative position of the child's pose. And we'll start here with a few rounds of breath, just again, turning inward, reminding yourself of that intention, of your mantra, and connecting with your breath. Next, let's slowly roll ourselves towards our right shoulder, opening up our left arm by opening that up towards the ceiling, opening up our chest in a light twist from our child's pose. New positioning, new areas to breathe into. Doing a nice side body stretch, maybe even a shoulder stretch on that right arm there. And last breath there. Let's go back to the center. A couple rounds of breaths to recenter. And switching to rolling over onto that left shoulder and arm, opening up the right arm to the sky, feeling open in the chest. Making sure your head is nice and relaxed onto your left arm there, feeling support. And slowly come back to center. And slowly come back up to seated. And so now to counter that face down pose, we're going to do a reclined Shavasana. So again, opening our chest to aid our breathing. Create yourself a nice little ramp, combination of blocks, pillows, couch cushions. And go ahead and recline yourself back onto your surface, making sure your head and neck are also supported. And we'll want to take our shoulder blades and kind of bring them together just so that they are able to flatten down, and then relax so that your chest can open up nice and wide. And then just allow your legs to relax like they would in Shavasana. Hands towards the sky. We're letting all of the meridian lines open, free for flowing of energy, especially countering when you're going from face down to face up. Notice any changes in the buzz of energy that may be flowing through your body now. Let's do about 5 more rounds of breath here. Bringing yourself back to the intention you said or your mantra if your mind has started to wander. Enjoying the feel of connecting with your breath and being on your mat today in this moment. And when you're ready, slowly bend your legs, rolling yourself to one side off of your bolster and coming up to seated. So we'll get these bolsters out of our way. We'll leave one bolster or pillow up towards the front of your mat in case you need it there. And we'll bring 2 blocks with us to have nearby as well. So we're going to move into Yin Dragon next. So this will be a nice stretch for the hip flexors, helping to open up those lines as the lung and large intestine meridian go down the front lines of our body. And so I encourage you to make this series of postures as supportive as you can, because as we said, we're working through feelings of grief and sadness. So anything that we can bring in restorative practice helps us feel supported and can go a long way emotionally. So to prepare for dragon, we'll come onto our knees. And if you do have sensitive knees, you're welcome to bring a rolled up blanket under those. That can be very helpful there. And you can either have your hands on the floor, or if you have sensitive wrists, I encourage you to use the blocks. You can find whatever height works best for you. And then we'll bring the right knee up with our foot outside of our hands. And we're going to angle our foot outward. So kind of like a 1 or 2 o'clock position. And then you can slowly inch your way down to whatever elongation of your back leg makes sense. Now, something that we do want to focus on is still having both hips facing forward. So if you find one hip jogging far in front of the other, bring yourself back so that your hips are even, and then find a spot between the balance of the bent knee in the front and the straight leg in the back, where your hips are both balanced, but that you can sink into. And first we'll do this position in an upright position. So we're going to be open chest in the front, breathing easy. Again, you can have that soft gaze or close your eyes. You should feel this a lot in that front hip flexor. Maybe even in the hips as well, in the back hips. Keep connecting with your breath and remember your intention today. Always remember that we're moving into stillness. So once you've found that one position where you feel the right sensation, try not to physically fidget, as well as we're trying to keep our minds from fidgeting. We want to hold stillness in our body, allowing our connective tissues to really relax in, feel that they're safe and they don't need to be triggering in preparation for action. And when these tissues relax and open up, we're able to access that circulation that we need to keep them supple, keep them moving, nourished, and keeping the joints nourished as well, getting that synovial fluid to return back into the joints. So anytime we become dehydrated in our tissues or too much, like you've heard of lactic acid buildup, those sorts of acids that build up in our body from stress or from repetitive motion and action, if we don't counter that, then they can become really sticky and cause our body to not move as smoothly and can create different kinds of calcifications and kind of scar tissues that prevent us from getting that movement back. So we want to keep feeding these tissues to enable longevity in the use of our muscles and tendons and ligaments and joints. So from here, let's take back off just a touch, just so that we can add in a twist, reaching our right arm to the sky, and then sink back into the appropriate spot for you. So we're opening up that chest, allowing a different span of breathing, changing the angle on that front line aspect to get more access to those tissues. Find a spot that you can breathe nice and easy. If your breathing feels labored, you may need to back off just a touch. Find a new access to the position. Just a couple more breaths here. And come back down to the center. I know that we've been in this position for quite a bit of time. We'll back off just a touch. I'd like to bring in the bolster to the center. So, and you could bring in a couple pillows if you don't want to lower yourself down that far. But I encourage you, if you want to come down to the forearms, find that spot that works for you. And again, this will be another angle yet on that front line to help open up the hip flexors there, which are our first responders and really can hold their tension quite heavily. And if you are feeling like you want a little bit more extension, you can lower yourself to using the bolster as more of a pillow. Or if you've stacked up enough pillows to do that as well. Just make sure that the height is at a height that is appropriate to you so that you can hold this and still breathe easily. Just a few more breaths here. And when you're ready, very carefully walk yourself back up. Coming back onto that left knee. Let's bring back the right knee. And maybe do some gentle hip circles. Back and forth, just some intuitive movement. Even some cat cows if that feels good. just to unwind all of the extension of that hip. And when you're ready, we'll push that bolster back out, realign our blocks if that's what you like, or you can have your hands on the floor. And go ahead and bring the left foot forward. So having that right outside the hands, adjusting that right leg back to the proper amount of extension. Again, trying to have your hips balanced. So between the bent knee in the front and the straight leg in the back, we still want to have both hips facing forward. And then turn that left foot out to kind of a 10 or 11 o'clock position. And for this initial part, one is have our upper body upright tall, opening up that chest, putting the shoulders down away from the neck, the ears, and giving yourself space to breathe here. Feel free to close your eyes or soften your gaze. If you need to have some nice deep breaths with more exhales to sigh out tension, feel welcome to do that. And settle into an easeful breath. Find your stillness, find your breath. Remember your intention. From here, let's back off from our lunge just a touch in order to add a twist, reaching the left arm up to the sky and sink those hips back into the lunge to the appropriate spot for yourself. Finding new spots to breathe into as your lungs expand in this new position. One more round of breath here. And slowly bring your arm back down, backing yourself out of the lunge just a touch. Bringing the bolster in if desired, or as many pillows as you'd like. And maybe coming down to the forearms or to a more face down reclined position. Making sure your head and neck are in a neutral position, or even bringing your bolsters up to support your forehead. Couple more rounds of breath here. And when you're ready, slowly walk yourself back out. Gently come out of that lunge, bringing both knees back together. And again, any intuitive movement you like is welcome. Doing some hip circles, extending your leg out behind you, giving a little wiggle. Maybe hips side to side. And then let's sink back into a child's pose momentarily. Slowly coming up to seated. All right. And from here, you want to keep your props nearby. We'll come to a wide straddle for a dragonfly. And it doesn't have to be too wide. We want to be able to just have relaxed legs. You don't want them to be forcing or flexing your feet in any way. So find the depth where you can just relax your legs, allowing your toes to feel at ease. And we're going to be doing a side stretch. So we're going to open up our side bodies here. So in whatever way that you can be creative to find the support you need for your head, you could bring a bolster to put over your leg, or whatever works for you. You could have start with having the right arm down, reaching up and over. Or if positionally it helps you, you could cross over your right arm and reach up and over this way. And in this way, I like to bring in a block, support my head. And again, find what you need today. So find your position, allow your feet and toes to relax. Find that easeful breathing. And feel free to close your eyes. Make sure your chest is pointing forward. And allow that side body to expand with every breath. Couple more rounds of breath here. And slowly come back up to the center. Nice deep breath in to recenter yourself. And switch over any props that you found useful, or maybe you need a different form of propping for each side, which is totally normal. Find what you need today. And then we'll come into our side stretch. And remember to open up that chest towards the front. 4 more rounds of breath. And slowly bring yourself back up to center. Nice deep breath in, exhale out. And remove your blocks or any props out of the way. Let's give support behind our knees to bring our knees up and together. Maybe do some intuitive windshield wipers with the legs. And we're going to come back into a seated position with our cushion or block. So you're welcome to do Virasana again, or if you like Sukhasana, whatever's comfortable for you today. So allow yourself to feel supported by your block or cushion. You want a nice straight spine with the top of the head facing the sky. And we'll step into another breathing exercise called Kapalabhati breathing. Now, this is a more forceful breathing exercise, so I don't recommend it if you are pregnant. If you are, please continue to do just the easy breathing. We've been doing the pranayama breathing. That will be very beneficial for you as well. This is in essence what it is. So we'll take a nice slow inhale in, and then like a bellows, we'll blow breaths forcefully out. So like this, so. Okay. So we'll do 2 rounds of that. And together, let's take a nice deep, slow inhale in and exhale. Exhale and be at ease. So that is a very clearing breath, allows us again to expel things that we do not need, allows us to really cleanse our lungs. And let's do 1 more round of that together, or if you choose to, you're welcome to continue on with just gentle pranayama breathing. And so let's take a nice deep inhale in and exhale. And relax. Let's sit here for a few breaths, have a soft gaze, allowing your body to process. All right, so we've opened up a variety of the connective tissue and muscle groups around our chest and shoulders, allowing us to breathe more easily. We've done some breathing exercises to really help us get our breath through those lungs. And now we'll tie this together with a very restorative pose, legs up against a wall, which I won't actually be using a wall, but if you have access to one, you're welcome to do that there. And I'd like to bring in the addition of a folded up blanket to place under the hips, which will give us, once again, another cushion of support and allowing us to feel comforted. So whether you're up against the wall or just lying on your mat, having that cushion just below your sacrum, that triangular bone in your low back, and then arrange again Maybe at first squeezing your shoulder blades together so that they lay flat and then allowing them to relax so that your chest is open. Again, we can make the most of all of that breathing and exercises that we've done today. And slowly extending your legs up. If you don't have the wall as support, maybe just allow your gravity to wiggle your legs around until you find that position in the hip sockets where they can just sink in and relax. You find that natural balance in your body. This is a very restorative pose, allowing circulation to return back to the heart. It's very recharging, allowing flow of chi, our life energy, freely around our body. And it's very easeful to the emotions. It's very grounding. It's very calming. So this is a great pose for tying together our efforts today. You're welcome to close your eyes or find that soft gaze at the ceiling. Once again, bringing your intention in. Finding easeful breath. After your next cycle of breath, let's bend our knees back into our chest. And if you have, well, let's roll to a side, pushing ourselves up to seated, whether you're next to the wall or on your mat. And then we'll scoot back onto our mats into a full Shavasana. So you are welcome to keep that padding there underneath your knees if you like. But this time we want to be able to spread ourselves out long, keeping all of those meridians wide open. Notice any changes in feeling from toes through the legs, up through our chest as we've done so many lovely breathing exercises today. Maybe even a more freeing feeling in your mind, allowing that oxygen to come in with every breath and oxygenate our blood and add to our circulation, invigorating us, and finding a soothed mind with easeful breathing. Once again, remind yourself of why you came onto your mat today, and give gratitude to yourself for a job well done, and for taking this moment and for being able to take care of yourself. Feel free to sink into the silence of Shavasana with a free mind, easy breathing, enjoying the moment. And I'll bring us back when it's time. Do your next cycle of breath, or when you're ready, slowly bend your knees up. Wiggle your toes and your fingers. Allow yourself to roll to one side. And gently press yourself up to seated. Thank you for joining me today. Again, this is one class in a series, so we will be focusing on the lung meridian, the large intestine meridian, and these are within the autumn season as classified as the metal element, traditional Chinese medicine. So we'll focus on those aspects, things that open up and clear those meridians, as well as to face and help process feelings of grief and sorrow, and to help us feel reinvigorated and re-inspired for moving forward into the next season. So I hope you'll join me there. And thank you again for being here. Namaste.